Welcome to the Who-Bangin Sports Talk channel. My name is Don Rici. My partner's name is Nolly Knows, and this is Light It Up. How is everybody this morning? I'll tell you, we have seen some games, last two games with the Nationals and the Astros. It's been unbelievable. What we thought was going to maybe be a split, what we thought was the Nationals might be up against it, has been totally different. When I was looking at my notes for the game on game one on Tuesday, I was ready to. I was thinking about how a 6 day layoff is going to affect the Nationals. How they might not be ready for this big spot in for game one. Even though I thought the Nationals were the best team for the series, boy, I didn't expect that in game one. Then we see what happened in game two, and it's just unbelievable. They refuse to have a bad performance. It's just unbelievable. I am just astounded on the hitting. I am just astounded on how the Astros just seemed to have no fight last night. I thought Verlander would get hit, but obviously no one could have predicted a game like that and a score like that. So anyhow, before we go into all that, before we talk about some things in baseball that are going around before with the series and stuff and with baseball in general, let me bring in my friend, my partner, Nolly Knows. Time to light it up, Nolly. Good morning.
Good morning, Dom, man. So, once again, pleasure to be here. And yeah, you said it, man. Let's light it up with this World Series, man. It's been fun.
Unbelievable, huh? I tell you, I'm just so excited still from last night. And I'll tell you, what's really great is a lot of our friends have some big future bets on the Nationals, and I couldn't be happier that they're like at least in the fight. That it isn't the other way. I don't know anybody at all that had the Astros for the series. I don't know anyone that really. We do know some that had the Astro futures, but I thought that was more regular season and not to win the World Series. So anyhow, I'm just thrilled with the Nationals. What are you making of this? What are you making of this whole the Astros and how they're playing in the Nationals?
I think it's pretty crazy. It's not really what I expected. But when we look at last night's game, it was actually a really close game up until the seventh inning. And there was a couple costly mistakes. And that's what ended up blowing up that game. But you saw game one was very close. Houston was trying to scratch their way back. You got the relievers. You got the relievers for the Nationals were looking a little susceptible in game one. And I thought that was going to start being an issue, hopefully, in game two. Well, not hopefully, but I just thought so. But the reoccurring theme here is what we talked about going into this series, and that's the inability for Houston to hit with runners in scoring position. That
It's amazing.
continues in this series, and on the other side, they continue to stay hot. Going into the series, the Nationals were hitting 308 with runners in scoring position. In the first two games, they're batting 333. And you look at Houston, they came in hitting 175 in the postseason with runners in scoring position. They're hitting 176 in these first two games. So nothing has changed. They continue to struggle with runners in scoring position. But yesterday I thought the error by Bregman was the one that killed them. Um, I'm
Huge.
not I'm not sure how actually they scored it. It looks like they scored it a hit, the first one that went off his glove.
Yeah, I think they scored it a single.
But I think they're crazy for that. When you look at that game, he misplayed it a bit. He kind of he didn't attack the ball right away. And there's a trend when that ball transitions from grass to dirt, it has a tendency to take off. It's not just gonna bounce the same way. It's gonna skip a little bit once it hits that dirt, and that's what got him. The ball took off on him. It surprised him a little. And I think if you ask Bregman, he has to make that play, and he does it. And what happens after is typical baseball. You give the team an extra out. They find a way to get more runs in, and not just that was typical of baseball. When you make a mistake, that ball will find you again. Two batters later, the ground ball right to him makes another mistake, costing him more runs. And at that point, the game was pretty much over. And it's something I didn't expect. The Nationals are keep doing their thing, and I think something that was huge yesterday was was Soto getting walked intentionally. That's the first time that this Houston Astros team has walked anybody all
All,
season intentionally.
that's
And
right.
they're
All
doing it to a
season.
20-year-old in the World Series. That
That's
says a
right.
lot to this kid. He was a triple shy of the cycle game one. It's been really impressive to see what he's been able to do. And in the first inning, we saw fireworks yesterday. The two MVP candidates came alive right away with Rendon and Bregman. And I think it's scary right now because everybody on this Nationals lineup is hitting. Eaton even hit a home run yesterday. He couldn't even believe it, you know? So when all these guys are hitting and the fact that the Astros continue not to hit, the only two guys hitting is Altuve and
Always.
Brantley.
Right.
Those are the only two guys. When they came up in that first five, I had that four. And when they would come up, that's when I would fear. If they weren't
Right.
up, I didn't even fear. The at bats that you're getting from all these other guys, I think Correa's hitting under 200. You know, like that bats don't look very good for this Houston team. They're in trouble going down 2-0. Now we're going to see what they're going to do in Washington now.
You did have the first four yesterday?
Yes, I got the
four,
four.
right?
I
So you
got
got the
lucky,
push.
man. Yes,
Yeah, well,
sir.
you know what? You didn't get lucky. You just proved the point that you're a smart capper and you have to watch lines and you have to jump on these lines right away. I mean, you jumped on that four. By the time I looked at it, you texted me, and I was like, "It's four. I got to jump on it now." When I went on, it was 3.5, so I didn't take it. But it just goes to show you about watching lines and about what you did and what I did. It went to 3.5. I didn't say, well, I'm not going to take it. I mean, I'll take it anyhow. It's probably not going to make a difference. Hell yeah, it makes a difference. So
Yep,
the
huge
push can
difference.
lose any day of the week, right?
Yes, definitely,
Twice.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I'll
mean,
tell you.
I still kind of feel like I should have had it. You got one mistake by Strasburg, which I don't even feel was a big mistake. You know,
It was. I'll tell you.
Bregman went
Yes.
down and got that ball, and he barreled it up. He knew it was gone as soon as he hit it. That thing was a rocket. I think the
Yeah.
big surprise was Suzuki hitting the home run yesterday.
I was
I
just
didn't
going to
expect
mention that.
man.
Yeah, I
But
was just going to mention that. When your
I
catcher is
mean,
hitting home runs like that, like I said the other day, man. Then I don't know what it was. Every once in a while, you just get that feeling about a team, and the Nationals just seemed to me that maybe they weren't the best on paper compared to the Astros. I thought it was very close. I just thought they have this mojo going. And listen, I'm not putting them in the win column yet. We still got two more. We still got a lot of more baseball left. We got not 2 games, but 3 games in Washington coming up on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I would think it'd be hard for the Astros to win the next 4 out of 5 games against the Nationals. I'll tell you, but it has been done. Not often. 3 times in the World Series when teams lost the first 2 at home, only 3 teams have come back over the years. The last time it happened was in '99 with the Yankees. Then my Mets did it in '86, and then the Royals did it in '85. So, it doesn't happen often, but the Astros are a kind of team that can make a series of this. I wouldn't be surprised if they come out Friday with a different attitude away from, they had a lot of success over there in Houston. Maybe they started taking it a little bit lightly. They won a lot of games there during the regular season. They won a lot of games there postseason. They just knocked off the great Yankees in their park. So maybe getting away from Houston might be good for them. My early lean is that I would take Houston tomorrow night in the game. So that's my early lean for the game because again, I'm not counting them out. What about you, Nolly?
Yeah, it's gonna be definitely hard to count them out entirely. It is gonna be definitely a tough task going against this hot Washington team. When you look back, they won 6 straight in the postseason, and you're talking the
8,
championship.
Nolly, 8. They won 8. They have just set the record.
Oh
They
yeah,
have won the
8.
last
Yeah,
8 postseason games,
thank you
Nolly.
very.
It
Yes,
was
I.
6 before the series started.
Yes, thank
Yes.
you.
Yes, it
Yes,
was
thank
6.
you.
They won. It was, and 7 was the record. I don't know with who, but last night, that 8th, they won 19 out of 21 games dating back into the regular season. They won their last 8 postseason games. Unbelievable. But again, Houston, they're not really out of it, right?
No, definitely not. I mean, I think what's more impressive of all those games where we talk about the Nationals, a lot of those were even comebacks. They never say die. And Houston, I don't know, man. They haven't shown a lot of resiliency in this playoffs. When you look at the Yankee games, they were taking the lead. When they've fallen behind, they haven't been able to claw back. But this
They
team
do it in
won.
touch for some reason, but Other than that, they haven't been doing it at all. They always seem in the Yankee series, it was always 2 outs when they would come back. That's not happening this series, like you said.
No, definitely not. But I mean, I still think that this Washington Nationals bullpen is susceptible. They haven't been able. They haven't had to show it. They gave up
Right.
runs. They gave up runs in the first game. And actually, when you look at that first game, I think it was crazy to see 7 innings pitched from Cole. You know, he had given up 5 through 5, and they had that much trust on him to give him 2 more innings in the World Series Game 1. I
Yes.
thought that was huge confidence in Cole.
Yeah.
And I thought it was huge for their bullpen to save a couple arms. That's 2 huge inning pressure situations, you know. And
Uh-huh.
yeah, I mean, it's hard to count this Houston team out completely. They're going to win the game. I don't expect them to get swept. I mean, it can be done, but they have a tough road ahead of them. They need to start hitting the ball. And I think one guy that they can hit is Corbin. And the fact that they pushed him back, I thought it was smart. And
Very.
I mean, but the guy's pitching phenomenal. The guy's been lights
Yeah.
out recently, coming out the bullpen, doing whatever it takes. And you mentioned it, something that they got going over there. They got a good mojo over there. They're rocking these glasses, these crazy glasses. You watch
Yeah.
Gerardo Parra has been a great guy out just in the dugout. It's a great leader. He felt that the team needed to lighten up. They were in Detroit and they got these glasses like on a giveaway and a promotion. They're wearing this like it's got the clear frames. He's got the red lenses, and then you got Anibal Sanchez. He's got the yellow lenses, and they're just trying to keep it light. And if you see the other thing, they got the baby shark going, you know,
Yes.
and
The
that's
Baby
also
Shark.
Gerardo Parra, also
Yeah.
from him. It was his walk-up song, and he's created something great. He's only got 3 at-bats in this postseason, all pinch hits, and so he's really not going to be playing too much, but the guy's a veteran, and he's keeping this clubhouse loose, and they have a good thing going over there. They're gelling, and I guess it's always fun when you're winning, right?
Yeah, I tell you, we forget sometimes, man. There's still kids, 22, 23-year-olds, 20-year-olds, playing baseball, man. Like something they've been doing since they're 8 years old and loving it, and something that I know you and myself would wish that was us, man. So I just have so much respect for those kids and that they were just so dedicated to playing a sport and leaving all the other stuff behind that could get you all jammed up. And so yeah, it looks like they just really having a lot of fun. And like you say, man, there's something to say about mojo work, and there's something to say about the luck factor. Everything is in analytics and xFIP and strikeout ratios, and the ball is flying off the bat at 105 miles per hour, and it's
That's a
great.
great point.
It helps. I love that we have it more and more, that we have more and more information, but you can't count out that factor that just when things are going right, when things are gelling, they're gelling, right?
No doubt. And I thought it was a great point for you to bring up all those stats and whatnot, because something that I love to see what we saw as national team. Game 1, they're stealing bases. Game 2, they're bunting guys over. They're playing baseball. I don't care what these
Fundamental baseball,
stats.
right?
I don't care what these stats tell you. You know what I mean? You want to try to rely on multiple hits to get a guy in. It's just not going to happen every time. You have to be able to get a guy over and score him without a hit. And then them being able to do it and them doing it in the biggest stage, I love it. Coming from the winning side to show the world that bunting still matters, stealing still matters. That's baseball, They're changing the game for what I don't like. I don't like the long balls and hitting 200 with 200 strikeouts. I'm not a fan of that.
Right, I agree. They brought it up last night on the broadcast about how the old Cardinals, like the 82, 83 Cardinals with Whitey Herzog used to play, those Keith Hernandez teams, and how they just played, hit and run, steal, that's how they played ball, and they were saying how it would be fun to see a team play like that, in this day and age. But the Nationals kind of took a page out of that. They're trying to mix them both. I tell you, I give their manager a lot of credit. He had this team ready after 6 days laying off. He had I don't know what they were doing, but batter's timing is off after 6 days. You would think, batting. Oh, there's only so much you can do in batting practice. After laying off for 6 days, and then you're facing Derek Cole, you would think it would be a little bit different, and it really wasn't. That team was ready to go from the get-go, from the first batter up. The team was ready to go. And I think that first home run I guess it was Zimmerman. Was it Zimmerman who hit that first home run? I believe that first home run that the after the Astros went up 2-0 in that first game, and the Nationals came back with that home run. I thought that was one of the biggest hits of the last two games, because that was kind of like, hey guys, we could hit Cole. Hey guys, we could do this. Don't worry that we were down. I already got us one back, So I really that stuck in my head in game one, and I'll tell you, yesterday Strasburg just pitched a hell of a game. He had six innings he pitched, and 6 innings. Let me see. I'm trying to find what I got Verlander's stats in front of me. He had 6 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, 6 strikeouts, which, by the way, gave Verlander the 202 Ks. Yeah. And for some reason, I don't have
Strasburg's 6 innings pitched, 2 earned runs.
Oh, there you go. And no walks, right?
1 walk.
Well, he had 1 walk. Okay.
1 walk.
Yeah, 1 walk.
But I mean, even when you look at the Verlander stat, they've been talking about how he's been susceptible lately, and I just feel like he still gave a great outing. A quality start in a major league game is considered 6 innings pitched with 3 earned runs, and I feel that's what he gave us. You look, it says 4 earned runs, but that's because of that Bregman error. They considered that a hit, and to me, that was not a hit. That was an error.
No, you got a good point there.
So that's an unearned run.
There. And I'm going to tell you something. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just wanted to allude to that, because a quality start is that 6 innings with 3 earned runs, and everybody wants to see a 3 ERA or less. But that's like a Hall of Famer guy. You're not getting that out of everybody. So what the major league considers a quality start is actually a 4 or 5 ERA. 6 innings pitched, 3 earned runs is a 4 or 5 ERA. So
it should be 7 innings. First of all, it shouldn't be 6. It should be 7. But that's another conversation.
Yeah. But I mean, when I look at this, I thought he pitched well. He was able to get himself through those innings. He didn't have his stuff that he felt. I thought the umpire was a little bit shaky yesterday too, but both ways though. So I guess it worked out. It wasn't one-sided, but there's some calls he was calling a ball, and then the next inning it was a strike, and I kept noticing that.
Right.
But Strasburg has been dealing, man. That guy's been phenomenal this postseason, and I figure he's going to continue. He made one bad mistake, which I still feel wasn't that bad, and he looked phenomenal. He continues to be on his run, and maybe them sitting him out back in the day when he was a little bit younger, maybe it's paying off now.
I'll tell you, they are set up pretty good, the Nationals right now. Let me just touch on Verlander for 1 minute, because I have been getting a little bit down on him, and I did think that he wasn't going to have a good postseason. But what he did, when you were talking about he had a quality start yesterday, the game he pitched before that, when he gave up those runs, the 4 runs, he stayed in that game, and this is a real pro right there. He stayed in that game and pitched another 4 or 5 innings, which normally you would think he would have been out of that game after the 4 runs, maybe after the 3rd inning. The bullpen would have been used up, and they didn't have to do that. Even though they were losing bad, even though they kind of thought about, we're going to lose this game, he stayed in there. He pitched an extra 5 innings, and I thought that was big for Houston. I really did. You know which game I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, definitely. He gave up that early home run in the 1st inning, and then it went dead after that. And it shows the confidence that they have in him, the same confidence that they showed in Cole. These pitchers, you saw it even yesterday. The 2 runs early, and then just settles down. They bring out the stuff. They're great pitchers.
Yeah, they both kind of did. I remember about the 2nd or 3rd inning, I text somebody, and I was saying, these guys are, on our little chat on Twitter, I was saying, these guys are settling in now. And you could just see both of them after like the 2nd, 3rd inning, they were both, dealing.
Yeah, those middle innings right there, they were going by real quickly.
Yeah,
they were going by quickly.
They sure were. So Nolly, let's touch on Game 3 now. So we have a game tomorrow night in Washington. We got Sanchez pitching, who he's been pitching a lot different than he has during the year. And we got Greinke, and I don't know. I have a feeling that Greinke is going to come out and pitch better than Cole and Verlander did. I think Greinke is going to have a really good game. And I think that first 5 might even be live at 4, but I have a feeling it's going to go up. But anyhow, how do you look at tomorrow night's game?
I'm excited about this game. We're going into a National League Park, so for me, I like that a little bit better. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to expect from this. We got a 36-year-old Greinke going against 35-year-old Anibal Sanchez. And both of these guys have seen a big increase in their fastballs. You got Greinke used to throw up in 100 miles an hour in 2010. He's down to 90 miles an hour in 2019. But he's somewhat reinvented himself is actually something that Sanchez, I guess, has as well. But he doesn't want to say that. He says you don't reinvent yourself. You only use what you have in your hands. You got to be smart about it, is what he says. But when I look at Greinke, he's got what they consider 7 pitches, but it's actually 6 because he's got a curveball so slow that Statcast has recorded it as an ephus. And there's 5 other pitchers that have also recorded that. But he's gotten his curveball to under 60 miles an hour. He's got these batters off balance. He's throwing his changeup quite a bit more, 21.9%, as opposed to 7.9 what he used to throw. And the same thing on the other side for Sanchez. He's using his cutter, though, a lot more. He's throwing his cutter 22%, up from 8.7%. So you see the difference and the contrast of styles of what they used to pitch. These aren't the same guys throwing in the high 90s. You know, they have to figure it out. And the big thing for Sanchez is the fact that he's got Suzuki back there. When the Nationals picked up Anibal Sanchez, Suzuki was also on the Braves with him, and he reinvented himself over there in 2018 with the Braves. And he said that Suzuki had a big part in that. He said Suzuki was involved in everything, every change I made, and everything we worked on. So it was huge bringing him in, and now it's paying dividends. They're coming up with some great plans. Like you said, he's coming up with different. He's pitching a lot different than he did in the regular season. He'll pitch different every single game. His strategy will change depending on his opponent, and he's realized that he's had to do that. He's had phenomenal success here in the postseason, and I expect Anibal Sanchez to continue his success. Now, as far as Greinke, you have seen that he's given up some runs. And if you look at his postseason numbers this season, it looks horrible. But 6 of those runs were given up against the Rays in his first outing. In his last outing, he gave up 3 runs, and then he gave up only 1. So to me, I think he's going to have a great start here. Well, I don't want to say great because these bats are hot, but I think he'll have a good start. I expect both these guys, and I'm going to go back to my strategy with the first 5, the under 4. I like it because we're going back to a National League Park. These pitchers have to hit. So that value, if you look compared to yesterday, it's like you're getting a 5 compared to yesterday because you're in a National League Park. At least that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, you don't think though that you would take it now though? You don't think waiting is what you should do? I can't see it go. It's not going to go down. I mean, if you're looking at now, what we have up, some totals are still at 8. It opened at 8, went to 7.5 at 5 dimes, but some guys still have that 8. I have a feeling this total is going to go up. You know, it's still early. I think by tomorrow, this time tomorrow, this total is going to change. I think people are going to look at last night and the night before and what the Nationals did, and they're going to think this 8 is a easy over. And I think I'm going to wait. And right now, I'm going to wait because I won't take the full game under or over at this point because I don't know what's going to happen there. But that first 5, I think it could go to 4.5, and I don't think 5, but I think we could definitely get a 4.5 that we should wait. Well, I guess we'll see what happens. But I agree with you 100%. I do think Greinke might surprise everybody, just as everybody was surprised in how Colin Verlander pitched. I think they might be surprised to how Greinke pitches. But everybody doesn't agree with us. We got a couple people in the chat with us, and we thank them for being in here. Our boy Alex Ramirez says Greinke is in trouble, and he could be right. But thank you, Alex, for joining in. And our boy, we got a few. DJ Big Boss in here. There's our boy Unability. There he is. He's our Las Vegas buddy. We're gonna be seeing him next week. And Thy Die is in. And thank you guys. We appreciate you all coming in.
Yeah, so definitely.
So what do you think about that? I have like a crazy. I want to touch on two things before we get going, but um, what do you think about this theory? I heard I was on Sirius Radio yesterday, listening to Pete Rose being interviewed by Chris Russo, Mad Dog Russo, and Pete Rose brought this point up, and I've been thinking about it since he brought it up. Since Pete, it is Pete Rose, but um, the American League and the National League. He was talking about how there was more bad teams in the American League this year, and how teams like the Yankees and the Astros with their 103 and 105 win records, whatever the hell they were, how they might be a little inflated. That there's worse baseball in the American League than in the National League. And we know Pete's an NL guy. Personally, so am I. But I was looking at the records and stuff, and I'll tell you, he's not crazy what he thought about. When I looked at all the records last year, like the worst losses, the top six teams, only one is the National League, and that's the Marlins. I mean, the Tigers were the worst, then the Orioles, then the Marlins, then the Royals, then the Mariners, then Toronto, then the Pirates, then the Padres, Colorado, and number 10 was the Angels. What do you think about that theory? That the American League was an easier league to win at, and that the Nationals had a harder road. They played better teams, and they were more prepared for this World Series. That was really his point.
I don't know about that.
You can say it. I'm out of my mind.
No, I'm not gonna say that. You know what I mean? But I mean, there is some validity to it. You do beat up on some of these bad teams. You get an easier schedule. That doesn't. I don't necessarily think it's like gonna better prepare you. They saw great pitching as well down the stretch, but they did see some easy games. You even look at Houston's down the stretch, and they played some easy games. You look at what Greinke did down the stretch, and he's playing teams and he's dominating teams that were completely out of contention. So I think it is something to think about. But to say that they have a huge advantage over the other team based on that,
Yeah,
I'm not
I mean, he
sure.
didn't say huge, but he was just bringing up the
Yeah.
point that, I mean, I guess there's something to look.
I think there definitely is a point though, because those teams are really bad. Some of those
Yeah.
teams over there are really bad. Detroit was awful. The Orioles, they've been awful 2 straight years. You know, so yeah, I see it, but I don't see the huge discrepancy that
Right.
everybody else sees. Because those teams at the top are really good.
And that was this year. Stats like that and things like that. Next year could be totally different.
Yeah,
Could be
exactly.
totally flipped around. A couple other things happened in baseball. First of all, my boy Pete Alonso named Rookie of the Year. Obviously, he should have been Rookie of the Year. Thank goodness they didn't make no crazy judgment like they might be doing with Player of the Year. But I was happy to see Pete Alonso named Rookie of the Year. I also noticed that the Cubs now have a new manager, David Ross, their old catcher. He was in the World Series in 2016 with them and with the Red Sox in 2013. What do you know about? You know anything about him, Nolly?
Yeah, I do know a little
15-year
something.
play. He played a long time.
He came up
but
with the Dodgers.
First-year manager, and now he's going to be,
Yeah,
he's
he
going to
came
be
up with the
manager of
Dodgers, I believe, in like 2002. So I'm very familiar with David Ross. I'm a diehard Dodger fan. He's a great guy, a great character guy. And something that you see if you watch that their championship with the Cubs over there, you see Rizzo when he comes to the podium and he starts to talk about David Ross, he gets even choked up about it. There's a lot of love for him in that clubhouse. How well he is as a manager, I'm not sure, but
we'll
typically these
see. It's
catchers
his
fare
first
off
shot, right?
yeah, but typically these catchers fare off pretty well. They understand the game.
They
They
understand the
understand all
game, man.
aspects of the game.
Right. I agree with
So
that.
I think he's gonna do great. I think I'm very happy for him. I like the guy. He's a good character guy, and I'm happy for him. Like I said, he's an ex-Dodger. That's how I look at him. No matter what, he had decent years. He was solid for us. But he played a long career and has a lot to say about his character and what he's able to do, especially as a catcher. And then the other thing with Pete Alonso, the polar bear, man, it's great. It's awesome to see for the Mets. He means so much for that organization, in my opinion. You've seen him put up
Not
53
just
home
yours.
runs. 53 home runs as a rookie. I think that's
Huh.
crazy. You've seen him. He made more money in the home run derby than he did all season. He made $1 million in the home run derby, whereas his salary is 550,000.
Right.
And what did he do with that? He donated it.
That's right.
So a great guy in Pete Alonso, a great ambassador of the sport. It's great for the Mets. Something great for that organization. You see him; he tries to rally up the whole city. It's a great thing for them, and yeah, congratulations to him.
Yeah, I'll tell you, he gave 100 grand to the New York City fire department and the 9/11 fund, and the whole thing. And then on 9/11 is always a big thing at especially at City Field, because that was the first game baseball played after that tragedy all those years ago. I guess it's 18 or 19 years ago now, and
Yeah,
and so at City Field and at Chase, at City Field, it's always a big game, and a lot of people always go to that game. And it was a historic home run by Mike Piazza after they came back. It's just a whole thing. But anyhow, this year, Alonso wanted to have hats commemorating. So let me go back. The first game after the 9/11 game, all the players wore these hats with the New York City Fire Department and Police Department hat that was made for that game. So Alonso wanted to go back and have those same hats made again and wear them. Both teams were going to do it. The other team, everybody was going to do it. And for some reason, weird Major League Baseball with their weird, stupid rules, they wouldn't allow him to do it. They wouldn't allow him to. It changed the uniform, whatever their reasoning was. They wouldn't allow him to do the hats. So what he did was he went around his whole clubhouse without his guys knowing it, with the clubhouse manager. He got everybody's size, and he made new cleats with the insignia of the New York City Fire Department and the Police Department, a 9/11 cleat. Gave them all out to his players, and that night the Mets all wore that. And when he was asked about it after the game, he said, "Well, what do you think Major League Baseball is going to say? They told you not to do the hats." He said, "Well, we did it already, so too late now. Let them find me." So we just love that over here. That was a big story here in New York. I don't know how much national attention it got, but that just shows you the type of guy he is. And if the Mets don't give him a 10-year Bryce Harper contract soon, then they're out of their minds, because it's. I know he's just a rookie, and I know most of the time you think you're over jumping, but I don't think that. I think hand him. Anyhow, that's I can start talking about the Mets. We'll be here all day. Another quick thing, I've noticed that they gave out that Hank Aaron award for the best offensive players, and Yelich got it for the National League, which I thought was a little strange, and Trout got it for the American League, which I'll save my comments about that. But what do you think about? Are they still the Play of the Year is still up, isn't it, Noli? And,
Yelich had a great year. He came up with a lot of RBIs. That was something big that I seen. But the fact that he didn't play down the stretch, I think that has a lot to say about whether you're going to talk about him for the MVP and things of that nature.
right.
Most offensively, yeah, even not playing those last games, he still was higher in a lot of categories than some of these guys. But I don't think Rendon gets enough respect. What he's been able to do over there with his batting average, with his RBIs, with his home runs, I don't think he gets enough respect because he's clutch. He gets it in the opportune situations. He's a great player. Yeah, I'm not too sure about that one.
Yeah, I hear you. I tell you, Rendon is a free agent. Talking about being greedy, I would just love the Mets to throw him a contract. I can imagine him at third base, and it's time to say bye to Todd Frazier anyhow. But I wouldn't mind having it. Who wouldn't, right? Who wouldn't want a Rendon in their organization? He's gonna be a free agent. I don't know if the Nats are gonna pay him or not, but I don't know why they wouldn't. Why would you want to get rid of him now, right?
Oh yeah, he's a big piece. I mean, the only thing I guess if you're thinking that Soto's gonna be carrying the torch, I think that's the only
Yeah,
other thing. But you need two guys. We need one guy to protect the other. You saw it yesterday when Eaton bunted over. So then you're faced with a dilemma. You gonna walk Rendon to get to Soto? No, so you were forced to face Rendon. They were able to get him out, but it's a tough dilemma for guys, and you have to have the 1-2 punch. I think you have to sign him. He's a big reason why they are here,
Oh,
and without him, they wouldn't be here without a doubt, man. That
yeah,
guy, to me, he's the National League MVP in my eyes. But we'll see what happens.
I agree. All right, Noli, man, it was great. It was great touching base with you. Now, I'm gonna say we could try for a show on Monday, but there might not be a. Well, put it this way. Let me back up. We're gonna have a show starting every Monday. I don't know if it's gonna be this week. We'll see what happens with this World Series. But after baseball's over, Light It Up will continue with a bunch of new stuff, a bunch of different things we want to go over, a bunch of things we want to talk about. It's not all about picking games and giving out picks. At least not for us. We want to touch into a lot of things. We want to keep this lighted up going. We got hockey season starting, so my attention now is going from baseball to hockey. And it used to be baseball to the NFL, but over the last few years, definitely hockey has taken over for me, especially in the betting aspect, more than the NFL. The NFL for me is becoming such a coin flip every week. If the games I win, I always feel like I only won them over 1 or 2 plays. It's always down to the last few minutes. That's just me. I know a lot of people having success in it this year. It's not like I'm not having success in it, but I've lost a little. I've lost a little spark for the NFL lately. I don't know what it is, but NHL definitely will be something that we will. And plus, there's enough guys talking about NFL, right? So we'll definitely be touching some hockey and some other different things. But as far as a baseball show, I don't know if we'll have one on Monday. What do you think, Nolly? We've got 3 games in Washington. Before we wrap this up, I mean, do you think we're going to have another game to be played in Houston? I mean, I know me and you want Game 7s because we want those extra couple games to bet out baseball, but I don't know.
Well, I hope so because I got the series to end in 6, so I'm really hoping, But
okay,
I don't know. It's going to be tough.
I
took that plus 200, but I don't know. It's going to be tough. The way these Nationals, I wouldn't go against them. But I lean the Astros in this Game 3. But
yes,
it's
I do
still.
too.
It's going to be hard for them to take all these games. And another
Right.
thing, when you're talking about all these other sports, another big sport for me is college basketball, and that's right around the corner.
That's right around the corner.
We'll be talking a lot of college
Yeah,
basketball.
that's why I'll need a little help with that one. I like the college basketball. I'm not an NBA bettor at all. I was looking.
I'm not
I bet
much.
30. I bet 30 NBA games in the last 2 years. 35.
Oh, I am.
I have not. I don't bet it. So, but
Yeah,
I'm not saying anything's wrong with it. I just don't have a feel for it. But I do like the college. I love the tournaments like everybody, and that's great that we'll be hitting both of those things for sure. And plus a couple of little topics that we'll get into. But I'll tell you, I had a lot of fun today. I know we probably went longer than we usually do, but when it comes to baseball, I know me and you could talk all day about it. But thank you everybody for joining us. Hopefully, if you didn't hear it, if you can retweet it for us. For those who didn't hear it, because it'll be on replay. We're on Twitch now. We're on YouTube. We have a couple things in the future, hopefully, that will be on a couple more platforms. We're having a Facebook page coming up soon. So keep with us, and hopefully we'll just keep on having fun, because that's why we're doing this, really. It's just to have fun. But, I'm Dom Rici. My Twitter handle is Dom541. Noli, anything you want to say?
Just thank you guys for tuning in, and hopefully we gave you some good information, at least some entertainment. And you follow me at Noli562.
That's great, man. And tonight, 9:00 tonight, every Thursday night, we have the Boss and the Sauce show on the Who-Bangin Sports Talk channel. On Friday nights at 9:00, these are all Eastern times. We have the Great Lounge, where we just, we talk about some games, but we, get loose. We talk about whatever we want. Sometimes it gets a little crazy, but we definitely have fun. So stay tuned for that. And hopefully Monday, maybe we'll have another show, and we'll have something to talk about with this series, not just being a landslide. But until then, thank you, everybody. Light it up.